Once again, welcome back to Plot. Okay, right, good afternoon everybody. Once again, welcome back to Plot. A little bit chilly in the northeast. The sun hasn't cleared my roof yet, so still a wee bit nippy. No doubt by 1:30, 2 o'clock, the sun will be over the roof and I'll get a nice bit of sunshine here. I was working in here yesterday afternoon, and of course I heard a little creaking above us, and when I looked, there's my automatic vent opener working because the sun was falling as when I came over the roof. It was absolutely lovely afternoon. Still a cold wind, like it is today. It's northwesterly. Still a really cold wind, that. But at least my automatic vent's working. I always like to put a bit WD-40 on it after the winter, and just to give it free up, open the vent right up and clean it up. But that's working champion, so I'm well pleased with it. It means on days when I'm way out, at least the vents are going to be open. I don't like it too hot in here. Right, we had a little visit yesterday. Andy Wilson, one of the lads off the Plot, come down to visit us. An old Shields lad, old Spring Gardens lad and Ralphie's lad. So it was great to be able to put a face to a name for a change. It's great talking online to people, but when you see them, more or less in the flesh, it's fantastic. But he brought these hi Ann, he brought these chilies down for us, and I was over the moon with them. There's a few cayennes, a few chilies. Of course, he's had these on lights earlier on, and plenty of heat. But no doubt they'll stop in here. They're going to sit on my heat bed there. I've got my little ceiling bed there, and of course I've had a plastic cover over the top of them. Now I use these a lot, covers, even when it's warm in here and they're sitting on the seed bed. But all you've got to do is just lift them every morning, every evening if you've got a bit of a rag. Bit of dry rag, and just wipe them out, keep the condensation off them, and then put them back on top, and that'll keep them good till they get accustomed to my temperatures in here. It's just on the 60 mark in here, so I never like it any warmer than that. 50, 55 is great for me, but it's just starting to climb up there because, as I say, that the sun's been on the greenhouse this morning. It's in front of my house here now, so by 1:30, 2 o'clock, it'll clear the roof and it'll be red hot in here. But at least my automatic vent's opening. That's fine, because I'll be going to Plot this afternoon to finish this video off. I just wanted to get down here and sort out a few bits and bobs. We had a few comments online about last week about sowing the lobelia. Now lobelia is such an easy thing to sow. A few of the lads getting confused about the amount of seed they're sowing. You get any pack of lobelia, you're bound to get 2,000 to 3,000 seeds in a packet. Now a lot of them were getting confused because I was putting so many in a row. Well, with the lobelia you've got to do that. You've got to put a lot in a row, and that's why I always segregate my trays into three rows. And even if you take 3,000 seed, you're only putting 1,000 in a row in a seed tray. And if you think of like a watercress, when you get a pot of watercress from the shop and the seeds are really packed together, that's exactly the same as what lobelia will be. Just in nice straight rows, and then when you come to prick them out, you've got the nice straight row, and you can just tease them out into little bunches of 5, 6, or even up to 10 little bunches, and then you put them little bunches into your preferred, if I can find one, you put them little bunches into your preferred trays. There's a little one there, little plug trays I use. You put your little bunches into them and let them grow on, and what you get when you pull that out, you get a plug plant. Now the seed merchants do exactly the same, but they've probably got a fantastic machine that separates seeds into little groups and puts them individual into the trays, and that's how they grow their plug plants on. You're doing exactly the same as what they're doing. You're pricking off your little bunches into these cell trays, and then within a few weeks' time you've got a perfect little plug plant. Because there's no way you can broadcast lobelia and try pricking lobelia off like that. It's just impossible. There's that many seed, and they're so small and fine to get a hold of. I've found over the years that this is the best way to do it. So that's, I hope I've getting a few of the lasses sorted out with that problem. Don't worry about the amount of seed you're putting in your rows, because as I say, it's like watercress when it comes up. There's thousands of seeds in there, but that's what you want. And you pick them off in lovely little bunches, put them off into your trays, or even black pots. What I like to do with my wet baskets, when I pot them off, I put a little pot into there and grow them onto that, and you get a fantastic little plant, ready for planting out. Well, that's a lobelia, but not only lobelia, there's another one of my favourites, the Livingston daisy. Now these are, sometimes it can be really difficult because they're more or less like a succulent, and when you start pulling at these leaves to prick out, they can easily snap. So once again, I like to sow my Livingston daisy exactly the same as what I do with the lobelia. I'll take these up the plot and we'll get these sown this afternoon. They'll be in 3 rows again, and looking at the seed count on here, on the bottom there, 1,900 seeds. So that's a lot of Livingston daisy. But what I'll do is I'll sow them exactly the same as what I do with the lobelia. 3 rows, and just go down the rows. They'll probably be about, what, 700 in a row. But as they grow into little bunches, as they grow in a row, I'll pull little bunches off all the way down the line and prick them off into cell trays exactly the same like that, and you get a lovely little plant for planting out. And there's one I'll be sowing down here. It's cineraria, and of course it's a spot plant. I love cineraria for going in amongst the lobelia and your petunias. I'll be sowing that down here, and I'll be broadcasting that, so I might finish the video off with that one. And now, of course, one of my old favourites, the bed dahlia. Now if you want to sow some bed dahlias, this is the way I like to do mine. I'll do the bed dahlias, and I'll do the French marigolds exactly the same way. Difference with these being, I like to use a full-size seed tray, like I've got here, but I don't prick these off. Never have done for years. I'll grow them on and they get nice steady little plants, and then we'll take the whole tree out and then separate them, nice little strong plants, good root system, and pot them off that way. But follow us over the next couple of months, and believe you me, doing it this way, it's much easier, and I'll guarantee you get a first class plant. So what we'll do, we'll get us away with the plot. I'll take these seeds up. We've got a few little jobs to do up there. We're going to start on the strawberries this weekend. I sprayed them all last week. So what I want to do this week, I want to start watering them, check them for the water. I'm going to give them a little bit of water, and no feeds yet because they've had a sulphate of potash on them. So we'll give them a little drink of water and just see how they respond to that. At the same time, we'll go around, you can take your baskets down, check the leaves, any that's marked or been bitten away, pull them off, and just to give a tidy up around your basket, any weeds taken out. And I do that every week as a rule. Lift the basket down, give it a good clean up, good fork up your compost, move it around a bit, give it a good spraying, give it a good watering, whatever it needs, hang it back up. Believe you me, all this time spent on these baskets, it's worthwhile, because you'll get a fantastic crop. But that's so we'll get ourselves up the plot and we'll get started on these dahlias. We'll do the Livingston daisy, the mesembryanthemum. That's a cracking word, that, if you can get it right. Mesembryanthemum, if you can get that right. And of course we'll start on my own seed, which of course I save every year, which is my French marigold. I've had it for years. Naughty Mariette it's called. It's a gorgeous little brown and red, and as I say, I've had it for years. I let a couple go to seed in the garden, take the pods off them, and then I've got my own seed again for next year. The only difference being, as I explained to Andy yesterday, yellow sulphur. It's a great thing for saving seed. When I get my seeds, make sure they're nice and dry first, clean them off, and I put them on a bit of kitchen towel, the same as I do with my peppers, my chilies, tomato seed, anything like that I keep. Spread them out in kitchen paper when you've washed them. Like the marigolds, I don't bother washing them, just dry, and then give them a good dusting with yellow sulphur, wrap them up, and they're fine for another year. So what we'll do, we'll get them marigolds out, we'll break them out, and we'll get them into trays. Marigolds, exactly the same thing. I'll not prick them off. I hate sitting pricking little plants off, little toe leaves. I'd rather wait until my plants get up into a decent size with a good root system on them before I even think about potting them off. Now, as I say, with tomatoes, I'll be sowing tomatoes in next week's video. But once again, I hate putting tomatoes off with just a 2-leaf stage. A lot of people do that. You know, if you want my advice, just be a bit patient with them and leave them, let them grow on a bit. You're not starving them by all means. If you've got a good compost to start with in that pot or the sowing trays, that compost should last them a good 6 weeks. So don't be in such a hurry to prick them off as soon as you see 2 leaves. You're not doing them any favours. They might pick up a bit and start on nice fresh compost, start growing away again. But believe me, if you let them get a good root system on them, that's the secret of them. They'll root much easier when you do come to pot them off, as what they will when a tiny little 2-leaf seedling that's only got a small root on them. Half the time you'll end up losing it. It's the same with onions. I now bother potting my onions off at the crook stage. I've got a tray full of them here. I'll just lift these up, and these are the giant red onions, and they're growing away absolutely fantastic. You see some of them online, they're massive, but they're the show lads. Believe you me, they've got all the gear, all the lights, all the heating, everything. With these, they're just ticking away nicely. Tickety-boo, I'm quite happy with them. Just let them romp away there. And of course, they'll stop in their seed trays in their little, for another 3 to 4 weeks yet before I even think about potting them off. If I think they're getting a little bit hungry, I can mix a little bit of fertiliser, a little bit of liquid fertiliser in a bowl with some warm water and pour it at the bottom, and that'll just give them a lift. A little bit of nitrogen, something like that, no problem. But once they're well rooted in the little cell trays, it's much easier to lift them cell trays out in a whole block, and repot them into a second pot. Great believer in that. Never pot off anything before it's ready. So that's just a couple of little tips to keep this going. I've got loads of stuff. My dahlias are budding there now. I'm over the moon with that. They've got some lovely shoots on. So I'll be taking dahlia cuttings round about the 2nd, 3rd week in March, which is not too far away from me. I'm not too bothered about that, because, as I say, dahlias with the big show dahlias, we don't plant ours out until June up north here. 1st week, 2nd week into June, because you still get frosts. Dahlias are frost tender, so you've just got to be careful with them. But I think that's about everything down here. I did show you some pots last week that I had getting from my son got them from the fruit shop. This is them. They come with tomatoes in them, and they're absolutely fantastic. And there we have. They've got a couple of holes in. I've got the marker in. And these are Long Joe chili. I managed to get a few of these sown through the week. I've got my Long Joe chili sown. I've got my yellow wax that I got off John Murphy last year. Cheers again, John. I've got them sown. I've just sown. They're lovely and warm on the bottom there. And all they're doing is sitting on my little heat bed there, inside of a propagator. And I've got some perlite, just a rope, and that's lovely and warm. That I've got about 2 inches of perlite in the bottom of there. And they're sitting in there just nice. So I've got 4 different kinds of chilies already sown. The basket of fire that I've Carl Nolan sent us them up last week. They're sown in there. So I've got I'm going to have chilies coming up my lug this year. But no doubt, as I say, if I've got spare stuff, I like to give it away. There's always lads looking for chilies and peppers up the garden. But as I say, if I've got spare stuff, give it away. Never waste it. That's the secret. Okay, so I'm going to get myself away at the plot, and we'll get started sowing these seeds. I've got some compost made up. It's in the top of the 100-foot greenhouse. We've got that finished last week. My son come up, and we'll cut the last of the polythene, and we've got the roof finished on there. So I'm over the moon with that. Another job out the way. It means I can get started in the garden now and preparing some of the beds, because a lot of the raised beds they've had no work done to them for 3 years. Maintenance wise, so I've got a few stakes to put in, a few posts to put in, but I can do all that in the next couple of weeks as the weather warms up. But yeah, great stuff. We've got some Toro Rosso there. I must get them sown this afternoon when I come back down, and that's another wax pepper that I like to grow. So I'm going to end up with about 6 or 7 varieties this year, but no doubt they'll all get used. Right, okay. The sun's over the roof there now, so we'll disappear up the pot and we'll get sowing these dahlias. Okay, see you up there soon. Okay, right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Once again, we're here to finish off another video, and I've got to say, what a cracking day. I've just left home. It's 2 o'clock here on the plot in North East. It's been an absolutely beautiful day. Wind's been a little bit chilly, but the sun's up there, and of course it makes all the difference in the greenhouses. Been down home there, just checking on a few of the plants and that, and once again, click, 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 open your automatic vent opener. So it just goes to show you, it really is starting to warm up now. As I come out, it was nearly 70, so it's opening up. But what I'll do next week, I'll give it another week, because we're due frosty nights again. Yesterday, Friday, Saturday, and tomorrow we're due a frosty morning again. So I'll probably wait until next week. We're into March next week, so that's great. I'll give March a week or two, and then I'll adjust the opener. And by adjusting it, you can adjust it to the temperature that you want to go up at. I don't like to have mine any higher than 60 degrees. I know it's a bit difficult to do once the sun gets up and it starts blasting on that glass greenhouse, because it can rise the temperature 10-15 degrees in a matter of half an hour. But I'll adjust it a little bit so it opens up a little bit earlier. I know it's been getting a bit high at the moment, but as I say, it's still cold wind outside, so I'm just going easy. But keep an eye on your temps by all means. I've getting up here this afternoon to crack on with a few more seeds. Ideally, I like to get these sown in March, and we're only kicking the arse off March now. It's only a couple of days away, so I'm going to crack on with these because it's one of the jobs I want to get out of the way. As soon as the weather warms up next week, I want to get outside, and I've got a lot of work to do in the trenches. I'm going to try and get them pathways all straightened out, and then I'll get cracking on this greenhouse that's been stuck on this rhubarb bed since last spring. So that's another job I've got to do. I'll build myself a little foundation for that, and maybe just get that set up in the next couple of weeks. But we'll let you know how we'll get on with that anyway. So, compost once again. This is my own compost. Down home, when I sowed the lobelia, the pansy, I used a multi-purpose compost with extra sharp sand, so it's really free draining, and that way you get no weeds in it whatsoever. This is my own compost. Now, you will get a few weeds growing in this, but as I say, once you've been growing for a few years, you know what your seeds are like when they come up. You know your weeds from your seeds, you can just pick them out. Why I use this compost, I'll show you in later on videos, is because I use a nice deep tray, nice full-size deep tray, filled more or less up to the top. There's only a half an inch spare there, and by the time I put a dusting of compost over the top of there, which these seeds I'll be planting will be covered, I'll put a dusting of compost in. It's nearly level with the top. Now, use that's watering from above, you really need it down a little bit so your water lies. As I say, I never water from above, I always water from down below. I use trays, I use soak mats, anything. But I can explain all that later on. But for this afternoon, what I want to do is to get I've got the Livingston daisies here to plant. I can do them later on, but I want to get the dahlias in today, and of course the bed dahlia, and absolutely cracking varieties. But what you can do with these, if you want, I save a lot of seed. My marigolds that I was talking about at the beginning of the video, there they are there. I've just tipped them out the envelope, and all they've had on is a dusting of yellow sulphur. Now, dahlias, you can save them if you want, but they're cheap enough to buy. But if you find one variety, if you grow a packet and you find one variety that you really like, and then I'll show you later on how you can save the seed. It's an easy job. Just let the flower die back till you've got a hard bud. Take that bud off, let it dry out, and when you peel it back, it's like very fine silvery skins like an onion. Peel them back, and all your black seed will be inside. Quite neat. If you find a nice yellow pom-pom or a nice red decorative or a pink one that you want, take a couple of heads. That's all you need, because you get 50 to 100 seed off one head, quite easy. So you can save the seed on that. But I'll show you at the back end of this year how to do that and how I dress my seed. So I'm going to open these up, and I'm going to put a full packet in this big tray. Now we should, I should have checked before, 50 seed. Now these should be a decent sized seed, dahlias always are. So I use a full tray, and then you can spread them out. Why I like to spread them out and broadcast them is because these will not be getting pricked off. And if you want to grow them like this, you'll find it a lot easier. I know a lot of people Once the seedlings come up, you want to start pricking them off and moving them into little pots and trays. If you grow them this way, you'll find you get a much better plant. Now there we are, we've got 50 seed there. Now I can just start and just work my way across. If I put 4 in a row and then come down again, put another 4 in, or 5, and that's one in between them, I know I've got a good really good expanse for them to grow out of. If you get 2 together, just pull them apart, really well spread them. As I say, you can go up and down in rows. Easy enough job to do, it's not a hard job. A nice big black seed so you can see where they're dropping. Couple there, open them up, that's it. When you touch your compost and your fingers get a bit damp, you'll find that it starts sticking to you, but no doubt you can get around that quite easy enough. I've done that full tray in a couple of minutes. So easy to do. Yeah, just spread them last ones out. So that's 50 seed spread across the whole compost, across the whole tray. Now they'll stop in there now for a full 6 weeks, at least 6 weeks. I'll not be getting pricked out or anything. And once they're ready to the size that I like to pot them up in, I'll show you. You should be able to lift the tree up, tip the whole tree out, and it should be just one big mat ball. And you can break them up into sections and then put them up, and you get a first class plant, and they'll be galloping away in a couple of weeks time. Now for a topping, a couple of lads asked through the week what I use for a topping. Well, I use the same compost again, exactly the same, me 321, but all I do is I add a little bit extra perlite with it, and it's really free draining. And for this, I don't have to use any sieve, because I like it a nice little bit of rough compost over the top of these dahlias, not harm them. You'll find dahlia seeds being so big, they just romp through. Now they're going to be in no heat. All these are going to do, they're going to sit down there. I've got a bench set up down the bottom there, up a height, and they're going to just sit on there. And as I say, whenever they need a watering, what I normally tend to do is put a bread tray down, line the bread tray with plastic, the plastic bag, newspapers into it, and you find you can get 3 of these to a bread tray. And then all you have to do is just soak in the bread tray, and these will soak up the water, just like a soak tray. Level that out, and there we have it. That's 1 packet of dahlia seed done. Easy as that. Leave them in there, don't prick them off. Just let them grow on. In 6 weeks time, if you get a nice deep tray, I'll show you how to pot them up and you get a first class plant. Okay, I'll just knock this video off till I get the marigold sorted. Okay, right, well, off we go again. Sun's still shining, so I'm happy enough to get cracking. What I want to get done today, as I say, we've done the dahlias, I want to get the marigolds in. Well, I've already done 1 tray, exactly the same as what the dahlias are, exactly the same compost, but these will not get pricked off. They'll be exactly the same as what the lobelia is. I'll probably take them in 2s and 3s and 4s and bunches. I hate seeing little single plants just sticking up in the garden. Far better to have a nice big robust bunch that gives you a really good colour, rather than have small single bits and pieces sticking up out of the garden. And this is the way I do it with mine. The marigolds, I've done the same for years. It was just a few years ago when I was working full time, I used to prick all mine off into cell trays. I've got thousands of the trays lying around, you know, the ones you get from the shops, not thousands of them. I used to prick them all off. I used to do exactly the same as what other people do, but for some reason 1 year I didn't, and I just let them go and go and go because I was that busy. And by the time I got round to potting them off, I found I could tip the entire tray out, and the root mass, the root ball was all there, and all I had to do was to break it up into little sections, pot them off, and I've got a first class plant. So I just took the potting off. I know people like to keep themselves busy, but if you've got other job to do and you sow your marigolds and your dahlias this way, it saves you a little bit of time. So once again, I'm going to just sprinkle them across the top of the surface, and I'll show you as the time goes on, when they get a decent enough size, when to pot them up. Well, that's I've done one tray. As I say, don't be mean with them. The amount of seeds that you save, and I think this is only half a dozen seeds. Took the last of the yellow sulphur out and on onto the top there. I couldn't do them any harm whatsoever. But as I say, these trays were absolutely soaked about half an hour ago. Give them a really good soaking, and of course they're dry now. They're free drained. A little bit of moisture on there, but just goes to show you how much free drainage you raise with the sharp sand and the bit extra perlite. And then again, you can just go across lightly on the top of the surface with a bit of compost, and I add a little bit extra perlite with this compost so it's nice and light. And within 2 weeks, if these temperatures carry on like this, you can guarantee within 2 weeks these will be through. They'll be through the surface of the compost, but they'll not get pricked off until I'm ready. There we are. They've got a nice fine covering over the top there. Don't worry about being too heavy with the compost with these, because they'll find their way through. A little bit tamping down, and there's another tray of marigolds done over the moon. So that's 2 marigold, 2 dahlias, and of course with the mesembryanthemum, I'll do that exactly the same way as what I sow the blue lobelia. I've got another tray up here, I'll fill out with compost, and I'll just get a bit cane, mark the cane in 3 rows, and then just go along the rows with them, sprinkle them along, and they'll be potted off exactly the same as I do with the lobelia, little bunches, because as I say, they can be a bit these can be a bit tricky, because they're more or less like a succulent. So if you let them get too big and you try and prick them off, they've got a very fine root system, a small tender stem, and then the roots, the leaves start to bunch out from the top. It can be a bit awkward, but if you sow them like I do with the lobelia in rows, you'll find it's a lot easier to prick them off that way. Once again, in little bunches, 2s and 3s. I hate seeing just single plants sticking up, but that's done. It's easy enough task to do, and especially when it wears like this, it's absolutely marvellous being up here. I'm going to crack on with the, like I say, I'm going to crack on with the brassicas next week. I've had a look at the strawberries this morning, will come up first thing, and we stuck my finger into the basket. I've been round the ones in the front here, stick a finger well down, and ½ inch to 1 inch down, it's still moist, it's still damp, so we'll hold off the watering again for another week. We'll leave it until next week. If the sun stops out like this for a week, then they'll definitely need a watering. They'll not need any feeding. All I'll do is I'll make another spray up next week. I'll like to try and spray them at least once a month. I only did them a fortnight ago when I cleaned them all up, but if I make another spray up next week, that's like 3 weeks, I'll give them another good spraying, and I'll keep them nice and clean. Because as I say, this time of the year, the weather's warming up. If you've got anything in your compost, in your soil, if there's been any eggs there, they'll start hatching out. But you want to catch them straight away before they even do any damage to your plants. Give them a good spraying. And of course, once again, the spray I'll use is the baking soda with the Epsom salts, a little bit of olive oil in, and a couple of good drops of washing up liquid. Don't forget the washing up liquid, because that acts as a emulsifier, binds it all together. Mix it all up in a jug with some nice warm water, or even boiling water, I do, so you get a really good mixture. Tip it into your mix, into your litre mix, top it up with cool water, and then you're ready to go spray anything. If you want a bigger mix, just double up, 2, 3, 4 litres. Sometimes when we get tomatoes going, I like to give a spray with that. Green fly, a lot of people asking about the green fly. There's your secret there, marigolds. Get plenty of marigolds and plant them in amongst your tomatoes. I've always got spare marigolds for that, exactly for that trick. And the green fly and the white fly, they hate the smell of the marigolds. So plant some of them around your tomatoes and it'll keep you nice and clean, as well as use your organic sprays. Plenty of marigolds around there, tomatoes are in between them, and it'll keep your greenhouse nice and clean. Another tip for you. But that's all for the day. I've enjoyed getting up here and getting started. I've got, as I say, I've got loads to do next week. I'm still sowing flowers down home. I've got a few more to sow in the heat. As I say, I put the cinerator in yesterday. That needs a little bit of heat. I've got some geraniums to go in down there, so they'll need a little bit of heat. And what I want to get started on next week is the tomatoes. Now, I'm not going to go full force at the tomatoes. I always like to make 2 sowings, actually 3 sowings. I'll make a first sowing of Alicante and Moneymaker next week. It'll be my first sowing, and then later on, about 2 weeks to 3 weeks later, before the end of March, I'll make another sowing, just in case we lose any of the first ones. I'll make another sowing of Moneymaker, Alicante. I've got some Tigrella. I haven't grown them for a few years. Just one of my neighbours had asked about them. I says, oh yeah, I'll grow them. And of course I've got the Ailsa Craig. Now, if you want to grow tomatoes outside, which is a lot of people don't bother up north here, too cold, but this is the one to grow, Ailsa Craig. I never go without growing some of Ailsa Craig every year, because they're a first class British tomato. Now, I'll grow some on the back patio this year. I was supposed to do it last year, but the way things with the lockdown was, you know yourself, it was just chaos up here, and just one of them things I never got round to doing. But I will be sowing. I'll not sow the Ailsa Craig until April. Reason being is because April's soon enough for your outdoor tomatoes. By the time they're up and pricked off, hardened off, it's going to be the first or second week in June before I even think about putting them on the patio outside. But we'll grow 3 plants on a patio outside, south facing wall. If you haven't got a greenhouse, try Ailsa Craig. As long as you've got a south facing or southwest facing, you get a good bit of sunshine, and from them cold winds from the north, you'll be fine. And let them grow up, just put them in canes, and you should get a first class crop. But that's what we'll do in April for them. And then of course April's the time for me cucumbers, courgettes, all that sort of stuff, the soft fruits. But that's a couple months away yet, so no worries about that. As I say, there's been loads of comments on the videos the last couple of weeks. I'm pleased everybody's starting to get into that stride again. It's going to be a cracking year. Hopefully this year is going to be a lot better for her. I've just had my first jab, and I'll get my second one in April. So me and our lasses a lot happier now, as say, things are moving on, but still keep my distance from everybody. Still being socially aware of we're never going to be shut of it, but we'll just keep ourselves to ourselves. But hopefully we'll be able to see a few more friends this year and get around a bit more than what we did last year. But for the time being, if you've got any questions, don't forget to comment down below, or catch one on my Facebook page. It's Jeff Foreman on the Plot. Send our friends with questions and we'll get you signed up to that, and you can chat with her anytime through the week on my Facebook page. But for the time being, I'm going to knock off now, because I've still got a few jobs to do up here before I go back. I'll knock off, get this video online, and I'll see you all next week when we'll get started on our brassicas. Okay, bye for now.